Hi everyone, Valerie Gregoire here. Thanks for joining me. Today I want to share with you about this little tuning fork ball that I purchased to hold the tuning forks so you can work with multiple forks at one time without having to play with picking up and putting down forks. Typically you're going to use two forks. You might get a second one in there, but generally you're going to play two forks. You're going to tap, play, rotate, tap, switch out, pick them back up, do the same thing, and it honestly gets to be a little of a bit of a task at times. And it takes away from the full experience of listening to the forks. And this would be especially important when you're working with yourself, because you don't want to have to be the practitioner and the receiver of the sound at the same time. So bringing in a device like this to hold the forks, you've got all the forks planned ahead of time that you want to work with, and you've got them all in one place. They're already picked up, and then you just have to choose either to use a tapping fork with them or a mallet, which is my choice. Okay, they're both fine. They both have a different purpose, really. I'm working here with the harmonic forks from the Harmonic Spectrum set. I've got the fundamental C fork in the center. I've got the A fork for intuition and opening to universal consciousness here. I've got the G fork, which when played with the C creates that perfect fifth, which is so balancing to the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. It just puts you in a relaxed state so quickly, and it allows you to come into the present moment, where you can just be and listen to the frequencies and sounds, allow them to move through the body, and you're open to transformation. You're open to allowing for tension or stuck energy to release. So that CG combination is beautiful for beginning your session and bringing you into that place. We've got the E fork here for the sacral chakra area, if you work with chakras, which I do. But the E fork is also known for helping to release emotion. I like it for releasing emotion, bringing the flow of the life force energy back into a movement pattern, a wave pattern through the body. And I like it for its opening you to creativity and to change, allowing for different change to occur. So then in the back row here, we've got the F fork for the heart center, for connecting, for bringing you out of the head and into the heart, where you can really receive the information that the forks are trying to share with you. So opening, of course, to love, compassion, and joy as well. So in any case, we're playing the fundamental fork with one of these other forks to create a particular interval that is known to create these different movement patterns in the body. But you can also play the different forks against each other, because they all sound very lovely together. This set does. If you added some of the other ones, like the B fork, you'd bring in something with a more dissonance to break up stagnant energy, perhaps. But the purpose here for me was to just work with the harmonizing, balancing, releasing, and restoring movement into the body, mind, and the spirit. I chose the ball from Biosonics. And the reason I chose it is because I want to grip that ball. I've seen another version where there's a second rubber ball attached and you hold that as a handle, which sounds like a really good idea, but this C fork, the fundamental, is much taller than the other forks. And I found that when I use the rubber striker, it has a slight tendency to wobble. But by putting my two fingers side by side, okay, so I'm coming this way, I'm able to stabilize that fork more, and that allows me to get all of that true sound out of that fork and get a good strike. And the second thing is, with the rubber mallet, you're going to get a deeper resonance to the frequencies of these forks. So it's going to be just a beautiful hum. And in order to achieve that with this striker, you don't want to hold it down at the bottom like you would tend to think, because it wobbles, okay? And it's top heavy, and it's actually hard for you to hit it exactly where you want to hit it on the fork. So I've found out if I drop it halfway, I've got a better aim and I've got a more stable hit. So it brings out the fullness of the sound. So let's go back to the fork itself, okay? Fork against fork, I'm going to strike with the flat side of this fork against the corner of the fork I'm going against, okay? So angle, flat against angle. And you don't want to hit this hard, because if you do, you're going to get a clang, clang, clang every time you hit the forks, and it's going to take away from the experience. So we want a nice gentle tap. C and G. C and A. Just going to bring more of them in here. Isn't that pretty? So fork against fork is going to create a much higher pitch, but a very open energy. Like I said, light. It's good for clearing energy, as well as just making the space available for a deeper session when you move into the mallet part of I call it the meditative part of the session. So first you can work with that, and once you feel that you've prepared, cleared your air, then you can bring in your mallet striker. And again, we're going to do our C and G just to see here. See how it's a beautiful deep hum, and it's so relaxing. Now, working on yourself, you see you can move this around, change which fork is playing more directly into your ear without having to stop and think about it or pick up new forks all the time. And believe it or not, I've never hit myself with those forks, even though my eyes are closed. Somehow I can sense where they are, and I like to close my eyes because I really want to focus on the frequencies. It's good to know where your forks are as far as the pattern. I always place this group in the same pattern, so I know my A is here, my F is closest to me, the G and the E, so that if I do want a specific pattern, I'm not having to try to read what fork is in front of me, because as you know, it's very hard to see the letters on these little silver forks. That feels really good. So after you finish that meditative state and you feel like I've moved these everywhere you want to go, you want to pay attention to where does the sound want to move, what part of your body wants you to, like, oh, put that on my shoulder, that feels good on my shoulder. Okay, you want to use your breath, inhaling to receive the sound, exhaling to release tension. So constantly using your breath as you move, constantly paying attention to where the forks want to be, and at the same time just staying centered in your heart, quieting your mind so that you can be fully present with the frequencies. Then you can just finish bringing in the lighter frequencies again to bring you back to the present moment. And then just kind of brushing the energy, clearing out anything that might remain from your session. So that's kind of how I use this ball. It's my new favorite toy. I hope you buy one too, and I hope you have a great day, and thanks for joining me.